just knew kind of what my spots are going to be going into the game, so just stayed aggressive and just capitalized on that.
Keegan, too, for you, one, very serious about this. Did you change anything in your routine? Like, did you have your Wheaties this morning or anything like that? And then, two, like, did you call this a signature game for yourself?
No, I did not change anything. I haven't changed anything since my rookie year, but I mean, I feel like I've had a lot of good games, and I think this is kind of the second time where our back's been against the wall at the end of the year. So, I mean, you could call it that, but I think it was just a really good game by a lot of guys on our team.
Keegan, I want to ask you again about your approach because it seemed like your teammates were looking for you in that first quarter, and you knocked down the first couple threes. Was that pretty much the game plan?
I mean, I know the first play was for me, and we just kind of kept going to that early on in the game, and I feel like I kept being aggressive no matter if I was missing shots, missing bunnies, things like that. So, and when your shot's falling, and especially when mine's falling, like against Utah earlier in the year and things like that, they always seem to find me at some point.
Keegan, in the first half, you guys seemed like you took control of the game, and you were winning a lot on the margins with second chance points, fast break points, things like that. But even then, you only had a 4-point lead going into halftime. Knowing the history of this team and what you went up against in Game 7 last year, what was the mood in the locker room in halftime, and what was the emphasis coming into the third quarter?
Yeah, I mean, we know them historically are very good in the third quarter. They beat us a lot of times in the third quarter. And I feel like our attention to detail going in the third quarter was big. I think we got out to a 9-point lead before the first time out, and we got a lot of 50-50 balls, which were good in that quarter to kind of get extra possessions for us.
Keegan, given the history of these two teams, does this feel like a big accomplishment for you guys, a monkey off the back, so to speak?
I mean, it doesn't take what they did to us last year at all. I mean, that still stings to this day, but I mean, it kind of peels the Band-Aid off a little bit. But I mean, they got us last year. We got them this year in a different circumstance. So it's always going to be a good matchup whenever we play them. It's always a fun matchup for us and the community.
Keegan, as you get ready to play New Orleans, does this win give you extra confidence that you can finally beat this team?
Yeah, you don't talk about a monkey on our back. The New Orleans, they've had our number the whole year, so we gotta figure a way how to contain them, contain their main guys, contain guys like CJ, and guys coming off their bench. So it's a big matchup for us to try and get in the playoffs, and a team that's beat us 5 times.
Keegan, last season you were thrust into a pretty major role in the playoffs as a rookie. I know Keon isn't necessarily a rookie, but first real playoff minutes, and he performed the way that he did. Just your observation of the work that he put in and his story to have that kind of night.
Yeah, I mean, you can always, especially that was kind of his first big game in a way. So it's fun to kind of see how I went through that last year and him kind of flourish in that position this year. And he's only going to get better in those big games. And he wasn't shying away from the moment. He shot the ball well, played defense really well, and it's just huge for us.
Keegan, coming into this game, did you feel any pressure on yourself? And if you did, how you feel you took care of that?
Yeah, I just wanted to step up with guys out. I feel like especially the last couple weeks, I just feel like I need to step up in a way, offensively, defensively. Tonight it was offensively, so I feel like I did that. A lot of our guys stepped up too. HB was big for us down in the fourth quarter. Keon was big for us, but for me, just going into this game, I just wanted to step up.
Keegan, you just talked about Keon. Davion also has had some big moments for you guys. You and Fox have both kind of made strides defensively. This new kind of more defensive identity that you guys have formed in since the All-Star break. How much did that help tonight, and how much could that help you guys moving forward?
It's good just because it can keep you in games when shots aren't falling. When you look at the best teams in the league, they're all very good defensively. So that means when their shots not falling, they're still going to be in games, and that's something that we kind of want to tip our hat on when shots aren't falling. If like tonight shots are falling, we end up winning by 20 points, kept on under 100. So,
Keegan, when you consider the magnitude of the game and the quality of the opponent, is it possible this was the finest team defensive effort you guys have produced since you've been here?
Postseason-wise, yeah. Just from start to finish, how dynamic offensively they are. That was for sure one of our best efforts since I've been here, for sure. Just keeping them under 30 points all 4 quarters against that high-powered offense is pretty good.
Thanks, everyone.
Fox, just kind of given the history of these two teams, just what's the sense of accomplishment to send them into the offseason and you guys move on a little bit?
Oh, I mean, we're worried about us. So obviously this team beat us last year in the playoffs, and I mean it feels good to win this game, but we know we have to go on the road and win another one for us to, accomplish the first step in our goal.
Fox, first off, congrats on being the steals leader for the season. Keon Ellis's performance that he put in his first major postseason game, and he had that kind of night guarding Steph Curry. Just your assessment of his whole story to get to this point.
Yeah, man, Keon, he's been great for us. I mean, even in his spot minutes before he earned the starting spot, I mean, he's everybody's seeing him develop right in front of their eyes, and he's not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid of the moment at all. I was like, man, I couldn't imagine playing in college against him and Herb Jones on the same team in college. I'm like, that would be sick for whoever they're guarding. But nah, man, he's stepped up to the plate. He stepped up to the plate. He's been ready, and I'm glad that people are seeing that. And I mean, he's helped our team. He's helping our team win. Obviously, when I was out and he was starting, he played a lot more point guard. And now getting to play together definitely helps our team a lot.
De'Aaron, you guys were winning on the margins in the first half with second chance points and fast break points, but you still went to halftime with only a 4-point lead. Just curious what your mindset was going into halftime, coming out in the third quarter, and obviously what your mindset was scoring 13 points against a team that you know performs well in the third quarter.
I mean, continue to win the possession game. You know, like you said, we were getting offensive rebounds. We only go up 4. At the end of the day, you look at that and you're in a good spot. You continue to try to do that. You continue to try to pound the offensive glass. and get yourself extra possessions, and we did that. I think we did that throughout the entire night. We were able to cause turnovers, get out in transition. Obviously, Mike talks about the possession game a lot, and I think pretty sure we dominated the possession game today, so it was good for us.
How much do you feel like Keegan being that aggressive helps you guys, and do you feel like this was sort of a peek into his offensive potential?
Yeah, man, we ask Keegan to be aggressive all the time. Obviously, Keegan's a different guy, and y'all see that. But I mean, we want him to go out there. We tell Keegan not to smile because every time he smiles, he misses. So we want him to go out there. We want him to be aggressive, and he stayed aggressive from the jump, and that's always going to be good for us. And I mean, the more guys that you have that can score the ball, and obviously, like we went to HB a lot down the stretch, so us being able to do that and being able to have that many guys who can go get a bucket, that makes your offense that much more dynamic. And with the way that we were guarding today, I think that makes us a tough team to beat.
Speaking about the defense you just talked about, was this the best defensive performance against a quality opponent like the Warriors that you've seen in the past 2 years under Mike?
No, I think our best defensive game. I mean, it's definitely up there. I think the game against Milwaukee here was definitely our best defensive game, I feel like, of the season. But this game is definitely up there. I mean, we held them to, I think they had 76 going into the fourth quarter, so basically 25. Damn. Basically 25 points a quarter. You do that, man, you put yourself in a great position to win. And then on top of that, we have a great defensive quarter in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, it's definitely up there for one of our better defensive games.
Fox, obviously the Pelicans have had you guys' numbers this year, and but what is your confidence level going into this game?
I mean, I'm confident in this team. I feel like, especially showing tonight, I feel like we came out and we were ready to play. Obviously, we know what's on the line, but this is just another obstacle in our way. We have to get over this hump. Obviously, we losing to this team last year, and then obviously facing this team now, it was like, of course, we had to face this team, but. At the end of the day, that's how the chips were laid. That's how the chips laid, and I mean, we made our own bed. So, getting over that hump, losing to this team already 5 times in a row, it's like, man, it's put up or shut up. Are we gonna let this team beat us 6 times to make it to the playoffs, or are we gonna get over that hump? So, it's on us now.
De'Aaron, you spent a ton of time with Keegan all summer long. You've been with him for his first 2 years. How cool is it to see him have a moment where he just sort of became the players that you guys need him to be?
It's been great, man. Just seeing his development and how different he's been. I mean, he hasn't changed like a whole lot. He talks to us a lot more than he did when he first got in the league. But I mean, just seeing him come out of his shell, and then also on the court coming out of his shell as well, knowing that it's crazy because he actually changed his game a lot from college to the pros. And then last year, obviously, him just being more of a shooter, more of a movement shooter. But he worked on his game a ton. We played a lot of one-on-one. He got more comfortable dribbling in the ball and creating his own shot, coming off DHOs and things like that. And just seeing that happen, obviously we want to see it on a consistent basis. But just seeing that come to fruition, seeing the work that he put in all summer, especially on a big moment like this, it's definitely great to see. So, I mean, I think he still has levels to unlock in his game, and I think he'll be a great player in this league.
De'Aaron, you've been one of the voices that's really reinforced like what Mike wants and says about playing defense. Can you just reflect kind of on how you guys have gotten here, how big like Keon and Davion's like reemergence, like how those things have been a factor, and just what just how it changes you guys maybe going forward right now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think after the All-Star break, we've been a better defensive team, and then obviously when guys go down, it's hard to just fill in that type of scoring. 2 guys who basically average 15 points, 30 points a game gone. It's like, where does it come from? But I think since they've been out, and obviously having someone like Keon step into the starting lineup and being able to guard the best guys in this league and doing a great job on guys as well, definitely helps us as a whole. And then obviously Keegan's been a much better defender this year. I've gotten better defensively this year. Domas is guarding better. Like as a team, I think we've all gotten better defensively, but just the way that Keon, Davion, and Keegan have been guarding this year, I think is the main reason why our defense took that step forward. And obviously now, with two of our guards out, you're seeing Keon and Davion playing much more minutes, and I think the question against them all the time was, what can they do for us offensively? Like everybody's like, we know what they can do for us defensively, and they're giving it to us on both ends. So it's been great. But like I said, man, we have another level that we have to reach.
With Clay heading to free agency for the Warriors this offseason, do you think you guys ended that chapter in the Warriors' history with the combo of Clay and Steph and Draymond?
Oh, that's the question, man. I don't know. That's obviously, I think their dynasty started in, was 15, 14? I was a sophomore in high school, man. So I was a sophomore in high school watching them win championships, and then they actually won the championship my first year in the league. Then they won a championship my 5th year in the league. So we've been watching this team for a long time, and I think they've been great for the sport. They've been great for the basketball world. Obviously, you see the value of the Warriors skyrocketed in the 2010s. But I can't answer your question. I don't know. But man, we've all been watching this team for a long time. So there's if it is the end, it is what it is. I'm glad we were able to beat this team at this moment. But they've definitely had a hell of a run if this is the end.
Thanks, everyone.
Man, what a good performance by our guys. One of the things we talked about before the game is in a one-game series. Usually, it's about which team can impose their will on the other team for as close to 48 minutes as possible. And our guys responded. You know, we always say, you know, we always talk about who we are and what our identity is and who we want to be. And I told our guys before the game, I said, these one-game series in the playoffs now for us, it fits us. It fits our identity. We want to play fast. You know, we want to play physical, and we want to play for each other. And the group in that locker room has been connected ever since I've gotten here. And so they've always tried to play for each other. When you have Foxy on the floor, we've always tried to play fast. So for us, it was about trying to find a level of physicality for as close to 48 minutes as possible. And that has a lot to do with imposing your will on your opponent, especially in a one-game series. And I told our guys before the game, I said, we found that physicality after the All-Star break. We found it, and we started becoming more consistent with it. And our guys did a hell of a job trying to stick with it tonight for as close to 48 minutes versus a veteran team that's been in plenty of situations that are similar to this. Had a lot of great performances. As a team, you know, we always talk about moving the ball and how well they protect the paint. Whether they blitz Steph or we caught the ball in the pocket on a pick and roll or we drove the ball, we did a good job of spraying the basketball. We were 10 for 18 on sprays. It was beautiful basketball to watch. You know, another thing we talked about was attacking the offensive glass. You know, the games that we've won, we've done a great job on the offensive glass, and for us to have 15 offensive rebounds and 25 second chance points was huge. And then on top of that, you know, obviously Fox and Domas did what they were supposed to do, but Keegan, lights were as bright as they can be, and he stepped up and he delivered. HB down the stretch when we needed a bucket, he stepped up and he delivered like a veteran should. But I tell you, man, Keon Ellis, the confidence he has and the swag that he brings to this team for a young guy that was on a two-way in February, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a lot of fun to watch. And he just goes out night after night after night after night after night and shows he can help us get it done on both sides of the floor. And every game, you can see he's getting a little bit more comfortable, starting to attack the basket, starting to make plays, not just a catch and shoot three-point guy. And that's a lot of fun to be a part of watching his growth, especially in a short amount of time and as quickly as he's grown. Hell of a win, but we're not done.
Coach, you've talked a lot about the importance of winning the possession game. Just how crucial was that in this one, and what allowed you guys to do that?
It was huge. You know, we ended up scoring 116 points, but in the playoffs and all that, we're not always going to score 116 points. In the playoffs, you got to be able to defend, and you got to win the possession game. And you know, I give our guys credit. You know, the one area obviously we lost is the free throw line area. But other than that, we were great taking care of the ball. We were great winning the offensive glass battle. And then, you know, if you couple that with the way that we're able to defend, you're going to have great results. You don't have to rely on your offense to go win your games. You can't, you know, if we keep playing to our ability, playing fast, continuing to play for each other, especially when it comes to the spray game, because Domas has every team doing this to us. If we continue to do that, the sky's the limit for us offensively. Where we have to make sure we're good night in, night out, is what you said, is in the possession game and defensively.
Mike, this has been a 2-year process for you to get this team, you know, close to where you want them to be defensively. And thinking back on that, like, I don't know, the buy-in from guys like Fox, who comes out here and kind of echoes a lot of what you say, to have Keon do what he does, to have Davion kind of reemerge and do the things he does, Keegan make a leap, Fox, do what he's done defensively. Like how much of all of those things had to kind of come together and coalesce for you guys to get here, and how gratifying is it for you to see that?
It has to come from the players, and when it truly starts coming from the players, that's when you're going to see the biggest leap. And I've been I've been with a lot of different teams in a lot of different situations, and it's no different. And so to watch our guys now and the physicality that they bring to the table, and the communication and the attention to detail, them embracing it, all that stuff, to watch it and hear everything being echoed that we're trying to talk about, it's you feel good for the group, because especially when they have some success doing it, because in my heart, my soul, I know at the end of the day, if we want to reach levels that we've never attained, we're going to have to be able to defend. And I want to make sure everybody knows that doesn't mean I'm not going to coach offense. Offense is very important. We need to shoot threes. We need to play fast. We need to space the floor. We need to attack. We're going to practice a lot of offense. But we need to defend too.
Mike, sorry. Keegan tonight, it was a coming of age game for him. I mean, we've seen him have the big 45-point or 47-point game early in the season, but just to watch him hunt shots in that first quarter, just how good did that make you feel to see him, like the light bulb going off and him understanding just how much impact he can have on a game for you guys?
No, it's great, and we've talked about it all year. Last year Keegan was just a spot up catch and shoot 3-point shooter, and all season, he's tried to step back three. He's got in the paint, shot his little leaner, and as a coach, he's a young guy. At times, even for his teammates, it could be a little frustrating, but he can end up being great with that stuff. And so you got to keep giving him the freedom and the confidence to do it. And his teammates have backed him all year. We've backed him all year. And, it's just a matter of time, in my opinion, before all those shots that he's taking and moves he's making from all three levels become secondhand to him. It's a lot of fun to watch his growth on both ends of the floor.
Mike, you talk a lot about imposing will, and given you're playing that team that you've seen firsthand do what it does in the third quarter, what stood out to you about the way De'Aaron imposed his will, scoring 14 points in the third after halftime?
He got to his spots. That's what he started with. He used his speed, which is second to none in this league, and he got to his spots. And one of the things that I've talked about with Foxy is he's already a great player. He's had a great individual career for a young guy already. But he could be a great player that wins at the highest of high levels. He's that good. And the great ones that win at the highest levels, they have another gear that they get to, when it's go time. And when you look at them, you never see them tired. They take it to another gear, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go rattle off 15 straight points. They take it to another gear and get to their spots because they're that good to score it, or if they draw 2-3 defenders, they get to their spots and they make their other teammates better. They make the game easier for their teammates. And to me, that's what Foxy showed. We switched up his rotation tonight. He played 2 bursts. He played a long first one and a semi-long second one. And he looked good. He got to his spots. and he made plays for himself. He made plays for his teammates like he's supposed to. And that's a step in the right direction in terms of figuring out how to be great, but not just a great individual player, a great winning player that can take your team to heights that it's not used to.
How did you feel beating the team that not only did you coach there for a while, but the guys that you coached for so many years? How did you feel about beating them and ending their season?
I didn't care who we played. It was about getting a win. And Steve Kerr's the most competitive guy. Blonde hair, blue eyed, good looking dude that looks like the All-American guy. But he's about winning, whoever's in front of him. He wanted to kick my ass or our ass. And trust me, I wanted to kick his ass or his team's ass because they were in front of us. But, you know, in terms of it being Golden State or anybody, I don't care who's in front of us. We want to win.
Coach, you know probably better than anyone that a scoreless night from Klay Thompson doesn't really happen often. How are you guys able to make that happen?
Like I said, I thought our guys did a great job with their physicality defensively. We did a pretty good job with our switching when we need to switch. We did a pretty good job with our contests. But you know what? You also need players to miss some. And he probably had a couple of looks that normally go in. But hopefully at the end of the day, it was an accumulation of us just trying to make it hard on him. And trying to make him feel like there were bodies around him. But he's a great player. He's a Hall of Famer. And he just had one of those nights, and everybody does.
Mike, I'm going to ask you to talk about Keon Ellis a little bit more. Just reading some of the reaction instantly, it seems like an arrival game for him, or a lot of people are suddenly discovering and figuring out who he is. It's kind of a two-parter. The first part is talking about his journey and the moment for him and celebrating him in this game, but also his story and how a two-way player can turn into someone who has big minutes on a big stage like this.
But the crazy part about it is I'll never forget coming into the season, we had Keon, Kobe, and let me see who's on our roster. Keon, Kobe, and no, not Kessler. Oh, and Davion. We had those three guys, and we were like, okay, well, maybe any three of those guys could play the backup point, or get minutes there every once in a while. And obviously, Davion had a good year for us last year, so he was the front runner. And for me, I was like, okay, Kobe's number 2 and Keon's number 3. He's a two-way guy, and it'd be great for him to get a little bit more experience in the G League. And in practice, he just started doing things that were kind of interesting. And then I tell you what, the 2 games that we got blown out in Houston, just throwing him out there and seeing how he impacted the game and how he navigates screens. Like, he navigates screens like a veteran. He's hard to screen in the pick and roll. Davion is because he presses up and he's fast and he's strong. He's like a pit bull, Keon because he's just so slinky, if that's a word. He just moves. It's like what's the movie with the dude, like there's a Matrix, like the Matrix. It's like ooh. And he gets over screens, and he doesn't get screened, And I don't know how he does it for such a young guy. To me, I'm amazed at it. And then he gets his hands on balls often and tries to rebound, and he's confident. I yell at him, and he's just like, "Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, go ahead. Well, this is what I was doing." Like, he does not. He's just normal. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get pissed. And I'm like, And so the more I played him, I was like, okay, wow, maybe at the end of the day, it's him. And he got in some big games. And he did some great things for us. Some of the things that stood out, he played he started at the point when Foxy was out against Portland, and he started again against Oklahoma City against Shea, and he does things to guys that you don't really see guys in the league do. And next thing you know, everybody from ownership on down is like, we got to convert him. And I mean, you saw signs of it early, but man, there was no way that I could tell you that he'd be in the position he's in right now. But every time we've given him an opportunity, he just keeps getting better and better and better. And like I said, he started out just being a catch and shoot guy, and now he's making plays. Keon, you got to stay down though, man. You keep jumping in the air. You got to play off a two, play off a two, play off a two. Other than that, I'm excited about his growth potential. It's great that he performed on a stage like this, and everybody out there in the NBA world is starting to know who he is. But for us, sometimes you gotta find diamonds in the rough. I'm not saying Keon is Jokic. Okay, I am not saying Keon is Jokic, please. But I think Jokic was a second-round pick. Draymond was a second-round pick. And to find guys like that can be impactful, whether they're a starter or even a rotational player, that's huge, and I give Monty and Wes a lot of credit, because he's helped us tremendously, and obviously he's going to have an opportunity to help us going forward for many years.
Coach, back here. No step stool needed this time.
I see that.
Hey, we've been kind of like dancing around this topic, kind of like the Matrix, as you referenced.
Okay.
You imposed your will. You talked about Klay Thompson. You're the only one in this room that has been with this Warriors team as you saw this dynasty grow and prosper. That said, the knee-jerk reaction to Dub Nation is that it's over for the Big Three. What say you, Coach?
I mean, you got 3 Hall of Famers. I don't know. Those guys still, in my opinion, can play, but the reality of it is, it's not my problem. It's not my concern. We're getting ready for New Orleans, but those 3 guys, in my opinion, are special. I mean, I was a part of many championships and many good memories with them, and whatever they decide to do at the end of the day, that's what they decide to do. But the only other team I'm looking at right now is the New Orleans Pelicans, and not those guys.
Coach Brown, I'm not going to ask you about the 8-man rotation that you used most of the night, so I'll just go straight to this question.
Okay.
Respect Shannon. Yes, now you have to seem like you have to reset, erase the board and start all over. You're not out the woods yet. You're still trying to make the playoffs. You got one more shot to do it. What do you have to say about that challenge for, you, your coaching staff, and your players?
It's the same thing. We know what we have to do against New Orleans, and we know we can't relax against them. They're a very, very good team. They're well coached. They got length. They got shooting. They got inside scoring. Our formula is the same. We got to hit first. We got to hit second. We got to hit third. We got to get out in transition and not play against their set defense all the time. And we have to have different guys step up like tonight. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they got to step up and score 35 or 40 or anything like that, but they have to bring to the table whatever they can bring to help us win. And just like Golden State, just like we've seen in the past, they're going to do this to the paint. Their paint defense is one of the best in the league, and if we feel we got 2 or 3 guys around us when we hit the paint, whether it's off of a dribble drive, it's off of a roll, it's off of a post up, it's off of an offensive rebound, spray it, spray that ball and shoot it. If you're open, if you're not, snap drive, and put pressure on the defense again at the rim. But we got to bring it on Friday against this team. Thanks, everyone. Thank y'all.